What's up, guys? Back at it again today. We got this Nintendo GameCube controller that is in pretty rough shape. It is missing part of the thumbstick here and part of the shell itself. Today we're going to do a full restoration on this, including a new shell and some thumbsticks. Let's get into it. The shell kit we're going to use today comes from Extreme Rate. We've been picking up parts from them for a while now. They are always high quality and they've kind of become our go-to. Inside of the box, you'll find your new shell. We went with white today. It's kind of a bummer that there is no GameCube logo here, but we'll find something to put there instead. You get all the tools necessary and some extra screws, buttons, springs, some other parts, I don't know what they are yet, and buttons and membranes. The first thing we'll have to do is take the shell apart and remove the screws from the back of the GameCube controller. I'm a little bit interested to find out what is shaking inside here. I guess it's probably just the shell, but it seems like there's a lot more going on than just that little piece there. So we'll have to take the provided tri-wing screwdriver. If you don't have this little kit here, a tri-wing screwdriver is what you're going to need to search up on Google, and there are 6 screws to remove. We do our 1 mandatory screwdriver drop. We do 1 every repair. And 1 last screw here. We'll put those screws and the shell aside. Just look how oxidized this thing is. Got some new ones with the kit. Now that we have those screws out, we can just take apart the shell here. It comes apart with the L and R button, making it super convenient. Nintendo's always really easy to work on. Turns out part of that plastic rattling around in the case here is the Z button. I'm not really sure if they have a replacement Z button in the kit. Luckily, there is a replacement Z button inside of the kit, although all the buttons are gray. Gray and white is a nice combination, but I wanted to go with that original look. Now that we have all the screws removed, we can just remove the board from the shell. Take out all the buttons here and put them aside. Just look how disgusting that is. We can pop off the thumbsticks simply, just by pulling them up. Take the C button off. Now we can remove the C stick. Just look how disgusting it is in there. The next thing I'll do is clean everything up here real quick. Okay, so now that we got everything cleaned up here, we are just about ready to go with the reshell. I also found this other shell sitting around the house that I was also sent. I really like this Chameleon blue. I might have to go with it over the white. I also popped out the R button here just to see how it felt compared to the one we had to build from the kit. The kit seems to be pretty good and probably would work. We're going to save that for another project and just use the L and R button from the original controller. So the first thing we'll have to do here is grab our security bit and pop out the L button. The first thing we have to do is pop off this little shield here. After that, it can be a little tricky to pull out the L button, but I'll show you a little trick how to get it out. After we have those 2 little screws here, we can remove this shield, which will give us access to the internals of the LR button here. All I do is pinch it down and slide it out. To get them back in, we'll have to do the same thing. It's honestly quite easy, but if you didn't know how to do it, it can be quite tricky, and I have had a spring fly across the room. I really love how this Chameleon blue looks. It also looks purple in certain light. Oh, there goes the camera. So this is the insides here. It's also built really well. There are some reinforcements on these controllers that aren't on the originals that I really like, that make it easy for other mods down the road. So we'll just pop in the L and R buttons in reverse order from how we took them out. We'll get the shields back on and continue on with our reshell mod here. Give it a little test here. We'll get the R button in also. Everything feels good. On to the next step. The next thing we'll do here is pop on our new L stick and C stick as well. It has this little groove in here so you can't go the wrong way. I kind of obscured the view with my hand there a little bit, but you can kind of see what I'm talking about. They pop on super easy, and this is part of the, if you were just looking to switch out your L button, your L stick and your C stick, it's a super easy thing to do. Same thing as the stick here. You just kind of slide it on. Again, I will block the camera view with my hand. I find it kind of hard to film these things at the same time as doing the projects, but I hope to get better at it in the future. Give it a little test here. Everything feels pretty good. We'll grab the front part of the shell here and start putting our buttons back in, starting with the D-pad. Again, everything has a specific shape and a spot to be with the GameCube controller, so when putting everything back together, it is super easy and you don't have to worry about putting the wrong button in the wrong spot. Just love the A button on the GameCube controller. Overall, I really love the shape and feel of the GameCube controller compared to some of its predecessors. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite Nintendo controller is. Everything is looking good so far. I went with a combination of original parts for this build and new parts that came with the kit here. The buttons specifically, I like the colored buttons. They gave us a set of all gray, which probably will look good with some color scheme, but with what we're going to go today, we're going to go with the originals. For the silicone pads, I am going to use these new clear ones here, which would look really good on a clear controller build or something of that nature. They feel really good. I tested them out a bit off camera. Compared to the originals, I honestly say they might be even better. Get the little start button here. After this step, we can go ahead and grab the board. Make sure that you line the C-stick up here. It does have its own little PCB that's just connected by a ribbon cable, and if you're not careful, you could possibly damage it, but you should have no problem. Also, with this little cable here, you try to remember where it wrapped around when you took apart the controller. Sorry, I forgot how to talk there for a second, but that does tend to happen with me. So we can grab the back of the shell with our L and R button already installed, and we can pop it on here. Get these screws in here. We got a little satisfying snap. Okay, we forgot one step. Let's go ahead and grab the Z button. For you eagle-eyed viewers, you probably noticed that. I feel like we always forget one step. This thing can be a little bit finicky when being put into the shell here. It has nothing to really hold it down. So now we'll get that satisfying snap. Everything looks good here. I highly recommend testing out your buttons as much as possible before putting in the shells here, putting in the screws here. Again, forgetting how to talk. If you've made it this far in the video, I really appreciate that and listening to me ramble as I do this little project here. Let me know down in the comments what other projects you want to see me work on, or if you even like this type of content. We are a very community-driven channel here, and I want to hear all of your opinions, good or bad. Really love this chameleon look. You can also call it kind of an oil slick pattern. I've seen this on bikes and old cars. I thought it looked really good. And opposed to the white controller, although the white controller probably would accept some hydro dip or something like that. We could probably do something pretty exciting with that controller in the future. Maybe give me some ideas for that. That would be cool. The only thing about these controllers that I would say, these shells, I should say, the only thing about these shells that don't feel too good to me have to be the fact that that Nintendo logo is missing. I know why they didn't put the Nintendo logo on there. You don't want to really go toe-to-toe with Nintendo when it comes to legal battles, but other than that, these controllers feel really good. And if you didn't want to put wear and tear on your original shell, maybe you could swap over to one of these and swap back in the future. Overall, I have a lot of fun just tinkering with retro gaming controllers and consoles and games for that matter. Anything I can get my hands on when it comes to retro gaming, that's what we'll do. So we are just about finished up this project here. Again, I want to thank anybody for making it to the end of the video or just about the end of the video. As far as our channel goes, we're really trying to work on our watch hours. We are pretty much a short-driven channel up until this point, so we're trying to focus on a lot more longer form content to try to get our watch hours up and, you know, really move the channel along here. I really like how this controller went. Let me know, again, down in the comments, what kind of other content you want to see on the channel, and thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like button. I don't like to ask, but that like button really seems to drive the views as well, which will also help the channel. If you want to see more stuff like this, and if you don't, let me know that down in the comments too. It won't hurt my feelings. Well, it might, but that is yet to be seen.